The sun hung low over Willow Creek Estates, its warm light filtering through the tender green leaves of ancient oaks, painting the sidewalks with soft, shifting shadows. It was the kind of place where kids played tag in cul-de-sacs and neighbors swapped small talk over picket fences. But beneath the calm, a storm was brewing. 9-year-old twins, Mia and Sophie, walked hand in hand, their white canes tapping rhythmically against the pavement in front of their aunt's neat bungalow. Blind since birth, the girls' NAVY gated their world through sound and touched the hum of a distant lawnmower, the faint whiff of lilacs, the steady beat of their canes. This wasn't just a walk. It was their daily ritual, a step toward independence in a world they couldn't see. From her porch, their aunt, Claire, watched with quiet pride, her heart swelling as they moved with growing confidence. Claire wasn't your average aunt. As commander of the city's K-9 DVY Shown, she'd spent years training elite K-9 units, handling high-stakes crises with a steady hand. Her world was one of precision and loyalty, far from the petty squabbles of suburbia. But Willow Creek had its own drama, and it centered on Dorothy Vance. Dorothy, a wiry woman in her 50s with a hawkish glare and a venomous tongue, had crowned herself the queen of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. She ruled with an iron grip, wielding the HOA rulebook like a weapon. To her, she was the arbiter of order, policing everything from mailbox colors to dog leashes with a smug, patronizing sneer. The neighbors, in hushed tones, called her Dottie the dictator, and they weren't wrong. She lived for control, her sharp eyes always scanning for the next violation. Claire had crossed paths with Dorothy before, usually over Tri-VY, Al-Nonsensia hedge trimmed an inch too short, a car parked a hair too close to a curb. Each run-in left Claire biting her tongue, knowing Dorothy thrived on confrontation. Lately, though, something felt off. While skimming the HOA's financials, Claire had noticed a murky $300 monthly charge for security SARE VYCS under a company called DV Safety Solutions. It bugged her. No one recalled hiring a new firm. Then, hauling in her trash cans, she spotted empty bags of high-end dog food by Dorothy's overflowing bins, stamped with DV Safety Solutions, Guardian Breed Formula. The dots weren't quite connecting, but they were close. Across the street, another neighbor, Henry Brooks, bore the brunt of Dorothy's wrath. A reserved widower, Henry kept to himself, his only companion a lively German shepherd named Rusty. Rusty was a good boy, but his booming bark could startle when a stray cat darted by. Dorothy never missed a chance to complain, her rants about that feral mutt timed to Rusty's rare outbursts. Lately, Henry had been keeping Rusty indoors more, likely to avoid Dorothy's relentless scrutiny. The neighborhood felt quiet tension, like a string pulled too tight. That afternoon, as Mia and Sophie tapped along the sidewalk, a massive shape exploded from Dorothy's overgrown yard. A 120-pound mastiff, all sinew and fury, charged without warning, its deep growl shattering the quiet. Claire's blood froze. The dog unleashed, uncollared barreled toward the girls with terrifying speed. "Sir VY Val of the Fittest, Commander." Dorothy's voice cut through, sharp and cruel, laced with a sickening glee. Before Claire could move, the beast slammed into Mia and Sophie, sending them sprawling. Their canes skittered across the pavement, and their small bodies hit the ground hard. Claire's training kicked in, her fear swallowed by instinct. She sprinted from the porch, her voice a raw shout. "Back off, you beast!" The mastiff snarled, its wild eyes flicking to her, GIVYing the girls a fleeting moment. "Mia, Sophie, are you hurt?" she called, her pulse hammering. Mia sobbed. "Aunt Claire, it knocked us down." Sophie lay still, a faint whimper escaping her lips. Claire's gaze snapped to Dorothy, who stood on her weed-choked lawn, a smirk curling her lips. "Call off your dog, Dorothy. Now!" Claire's voice was pure authority, sharp enough to cut glass. Dorothy shrugged, her tone mocking. "They shouldn't be out here alone. My Goliath's just teaching them to respect boundaries." Rage surged, but Claire stayed sharp. She drew her SARE VYC weapon, keeping it pointed down, a reflex honed by years of training, but a clear signal. The mastiff circled the girls, teeth bared, its massive frame quivering with aggression. "Dorothy Vance," Claire said, her voice low and deadly. "Control that dog, or I'll end it." Dorothy's smirk wavered. Reluctantly, she snapped, "Goliath, come." The dog growled, hesitated, then slunk back to her side, its eyes still locked on the girls. Claire dropped to her knees beside Mia and Sophie, her hands gentle as she checked for injuries. Scrapes and bruises marked their arms and legs, but the real damage was in their trembling voices, their fear. Relief battled fury as Claire's eyes met Dorothy's, her anger now a cold, unyielding force. "You sent that untrained monster after two blind kids," she said, her voice shaking with barely contained rage. "Do you even grasp how VY that is?" Dorothy scoffed. "They were on my property, trespassing." Claire's voice turned glacial. "They were on the public sidewalk, and you know it. That dog's a weapon, and you wielded it." Sirens pierced the air, a welcome sound. Claire had radioed for backup the moment the attack began, and her K-9 unit rolled up, armed with bite sleeves and control poles. Officer Carter, a young cop Claire had mentored, surveyed the scene. "Commander, what's the situation?" Claire's voice was tight. "Dorothy Vance unleashed her mastiff on my nieces, Mia and Sophie. They're blind. I want her arrested for assault and using an animal as a weapon." Dorothy's face twisted in outrage. "This is absurd. They were taunting him with those sticks." The officers moved swiftly, securing Goliath in a reinforced van with calm efficiency. Another cop cuffed a shrieking Dorothy, reading her rights as she ranted about her misunderstood dog. The investigation that followed unraveled Dorothy's web of deceit. Neighbors, finally free to speak, described her secret dog breeding operation unlicensed, filthy, dangerous. They'd lived under her threats for years, intimidated by her dogs and her bullying. Henry Brooks admitted Dorothy had warned she'd have Rusty taken if he didn't keep him quiet. He'd also seen her with a microchip gun, odd for someone who skimped on vet care. The real shock came when Goliath's microchip traced to DV Safety Solutions, a fake company tied to a P.O. box Dorothy used for shady side hustles. Worse, the HOA's Dulaw 300 monthly security payments went straight to her, funding her scam elite guard dog operation. She'd been fleecing the neighborhood, passing off her untrained dogs as trained assets. The trial was a spectacle. Claire's testimony, backed by neighbors and hard EVY-dense photos of Dorothy's squalid kennels. Bank records crushed her defense. The judge, V.Y. Sibley appalled, sentenced Dorothy to years in prison for assault, endangerment, and fraud. Willow Creek breathed again. The HOA banned dangerous breeds and tightened rules. Fundraisers supported Mia and Sophie's recovery, and the community rallied around them. The girls, scarred but strong, leaned on each other, their bond unbreakable. Claire found peace and justice, but Dorothy's cruel taunt, Sir V.Y. Val of the fittest, lingered, a chilling reminder of unchecked malice. So what do you think? Was Dorothy a petty tyrant or a calculated sociopath? Could the neighbors have stopped her sooner? Or was her grip too tight? Did Henry's silence enable her? Drop your take below, smash that like button, and subscribe for more stories that'll spark debate.